Why, hello there, everyone. How's it going? My name is Brian, and you're now watching Maraxo's reviews and how-tos. I want to start off saying thanks for hanging out with me today and for watching this video. For about the past 10 years or so now, I have been building my own PCs. It's a hobby that I really enjoy. And in that time, I've built, quite a few different PCs, but I have never kind of taken that next step, I guess, when it comes to overclocking my PC and trying to squeeze as much raw performance out of it as I possibly can. And I figure it's been, 10 years of building, and it's about time to take that next step. So in this video today, what I'd like to do is just kind of take you guys along for the ride. Show you what steps I went through here to overclock my i7-4790K CPU. Show you the troubles I ran into along the way, and as well as show you the results of what overclocking this CPU has done for me, what kind of performance gains I've actually gotten out of it. So anyway, I'm sure you guys are ready to rock and roll, so let's do it. Now, before I start getting in over my head here and actually overclock my CPU, I want to run a couple little tests so I can do a before and after comparison of sorts. First up is the ever-popular benchmarking utility Cinebench. For those of you unfamiliar with Cinebench, it's a benchmarking tool that taxes just your CPU by making it render out a near photorealistic scene of some nifty looking shiny orbs and things, and then it gives you a score based on your CPU's performance. Leaving my CPU at stock settings where it turbo boosts up to 4.4 gigahertz, I was able to earn a score of 890. Next up, I want to run Prime 95, which is a torture test program that is designed to push your CPU to its limits, and it also generates a whole lot of heat while doing so. To put it simply, Prime 95 is a program that tests the stability of your system. If your system boots up, but you've set your frequency too high and haven't supplied it with enough voltage, then when you run Prime 95, it starts pushing your CPU to its max, and then your computer will crash, letting you know you either need to increase the voltage or you need to dial down your overclock. The first time I ran Prime 95 on my CPU, I found that after running it for just a short period of time that my temperatures began jumping up over 90 degrees Celsius, even into the low 100s, which is way crazy hot. And I believe the thermal limit on the i7-4790K is like 105, at which point the CPU will throttle down to a lower frequency in an effort to reduce the heat and try to save itself from bursting into flames. I wasn't entirely sure why it was doing this, so I did some searching online, and of course the first thing that most people suggested was that my CPU cooler is mounted incorrectly. Although it is possible I didn't mount my cooler correctly, I've built enough computers over the last 10 years that I'm pretty sure that isn't it. And since removing my CPU cooler is a bit of a pain in the butt, I decided to do a little more research on my CPU and my CPU cooler before I went ahead and disassembled my entire computer so I can pull the motherboard and then remove and reseat my freaking cooler. From what I've been able to find online about the 4790K, I believe that I'm right in the normal range when it comes to temperatures. My idle temps are in the low to mid 30s, and when I'm gaming or rendering video, which is like two of the most taxing things that I do on my computer. My temperatures range from the 50s to the low 70s. What you're looking at here is a graph that I found that was put together by Hardware Canucks, showing the temperatures they achieved with my same CPU cooler, the Cooler Master V8 GTS. As you can see from the title of the graph, they had overclocked their CPU to 3.8 gigahertz, which is about 600 megahertz slower than my CPU's turbo boost speed. So taking their results into consideration, as well as what other people have reported for temps on their 4790Ks, I feel pretty confident that my cooler is mounted properly and that there is something else going on causing the crazy high Prime 95 temperature spikes. So I naturally kept searching the internet and eventually came across a Tom's Hardware forum post from a user named Computronics. He said, and I quote, "Core i 2nd, 3rd, and 4th generation CPUs have AVX, Advanced Vector Extension instruction sets. Recent versions of Prime 95 run AVX code on the floating point unit, or FPU, math coprocessor, which produces unrealistically high temperatures." He then goes on to say that using older versions of Prime 95, version 26.6 and older to be precise, do not do this, which brings CPU core temperatures down significantly. So I downloaded Prime 95 version 26.6 from the GIMP's website and decided to give that a try. And he was right. Instead of spiking up into the 90s and even over 100 degrees Celsius, my temps sat in the mid to low 80s instead, which is still pretty hot, I think, but it is much, much better than before. Alright, so now that we've got all of those stock baseline numbers noted, it is time to move on to our overclock. And since this is my very first time doing anything like this, I'm kind of nervous to try to do it manually, and I've watched quite a few videos and read a lot of articles online on how to manually overclock, and there's really a whole lot involved, but thankfully, I have an Asus motherboard, so I've decided to use the tools that Asus has provided me and use their 5-way optimization tool here to automatically overclock my CPU, so that way I can kind of see, get a good idea of what my CPU is capable of. So yeah, let's do it, huh? So first off, I feel like I need to apologize to you guys for this kind of ghetto camera pointed at the computer screen thing I'm doing here, but I don't have a capture card, so this is kind of the only option I've got at the moment. So anyway, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to do my best to follow along with Asus's video that they had online, where what we're going to be doing here is trying to overclock our CPU. We want to use the extreme tuning option here. We're going to adjust the ratio only, and we're going to do it on a per core basis. And what we want to do here, I think, is start from the CPU default ratio. And we're not going to mess with any of these. We got target voltage. How do I turn that off? It was off. Oh, there we go. And then in Asus's walkthrough video, they enabled the memory stress test, and then they did the stress test duration for 15 seconds because they said in like 80 some odd % of tests that they do, they found that that's good enough. So I guess for me and for the purpose of this video, so that I don't have to do too much time lapsing and whatnot, we'll do that for now. And then we're going to turn off this, and I'm going to turn off that, and I think we are ready to go. Now I should let you know that I did try this once already, and for whatever reason it like froze up on me and it didn't work, and so I had to try again. Hopefully I will get a better result this time than last time. So here we go. So what's happening right now is the computer is restarting. Okay, we've booted back up into Windows, and as you can see, I only see my desktop. This is what happened last time. And last time, to get it to come up on the screen, I had to come down here and click on all apps, go to Asus here, and click AI Suite 3, which then pops this message up, and then I hit yes, and oh, hey, this, oh no wait, it did do this last time. It did do this last time. It gives me a countdown and tells me, congratulations, auto-tuning will start in 1 minute for an enhanced system performance. And then what I did was I clicked continue, and then it did nothing. So far it's showing that it's doing absolutely nothing. So I don't know if this is working or not. So hopefully this time it will actually do something. And I think what I'm going to do, rather than click continue, I think I'm just going to let it do it itself. I'm just going to sit here and wait for it to count down and see what happens. Oh, hey, this is different than last time. It didn't do this last time. It's actually showing that it's doing a full core stress test. That's good. I think. I hope. So it's telling me temperatures and what voltages are and everything. And last time it didn't do any of that. So far, things are looking better. Ooh, it just bumped us up to 4.5 gigahertz. It looks like I am now at 4.7 gigahertz. And according to JJ on Asus's video, what will happen is it's going to keep upping everything until it reaches a point when the system becomes unstable and crashes. And then what will happen is it will reboot and go back to whatever the last stable measurement was. And so far, this is overclocking a bit more than I had anticipated. I was expecting on my air cooler to only, maybe hit like 4.7 gigahertz, but I'm at 4.8 now. And wow. It's at 4.9 gigahertz, but I'm looking at the voltage, and it looks like it's put the voltage up to 1.362. Wow, now it's at 1.372. I feel like that's kind of high. I know a lot of guys that I've watched recommend you only, max out at like 1.3 volts. So I really hope that this isn't going to mess anything up for me here. And I wonder if these 15-second stress tests are not quite long enough. Now it looks like it did back it down here to 1.36. Wow. 5 gigahertz. This is starting to get crazy right now. This is getting nutso. That is the 2-core stress test though. Well, there we have it, folks. Looks like that is where we are topping out. Alright, so we are now booted back into Windows, and once again the Asus AI Suite thing has not come up, so I'm guessing I'm probably going to have to come in here and click on that to get it to go. Yeah, there we go. So yeah, here we go. It's doing the VRM, dynamically adjusting the power phase and frequency for optimal power saving conditions. And looks like there we are. We got a 16% overclock, 4.9 gigahertz. I would guess that, especially for air cooling, that I won the silicon lottery here with my 4790K, because from what I understand, most people overclock theirs to right about 4.7 or so. I'm probably gonna want to go into my BIOS if I'm gonna keep this overclock. I probably am gonna back it off a little bit because I don't know how bad I want to be pushing my system this hard all the time. But what I will do before I do anything like that, of course, is do a little benchmark testing here with Cinebench and see just what kind of performance we get. Alright, so here we are with Cinebench R15, and what I'm going to do now is I'm going to hit run on here and see what kind of difference our overclock has made for us. Here we go. Alright, so here we have our two scores side by side. We've got our original run at stock speeds, Cinebench score of 890, and with our overclock we are looking at 960. So that overclock just netted us a 70-point increase on Cinebench, which, if I've done my math right, is about an 8% increase, I think. Now what I'd like to do is run Prime 95 version 26.6 and see how that goes. I'm going to do small FFTs because that's the one that kind of tests things the most. Hit OK. And that should start going here. I'm going to bring up hardware monitor so I can also see what's happening. Whoa. Temperatures are getting crazy high. That's not cool. Alright, now my fan is kicking in, but still, that is way too high of temperatures. And it's looks like it's throttling down a little bit from that 4.9 gigahertz overclock, just because the temperatures are way too high. So I would have to say that even though my chip did overclock to 4.9 gigahertz, I definitely need to dial it back. So we are going to end this test right now, because that is way too hot. So to spare you guys a little bit of boredom and to keep this video from being too much ridiculously longer, I'll just kind of give you guys a rundown of what I did. Is I logged into my BIOS and I manually dialed back the overclock from 4.9 to 4.8 and, you know, adjusted the voltage a little bit to see if I could make a difference, and tested those, and that didn't really work, and so I dialed it back to 4.7, and that was still running a little hotter than I liked, so I dialed it back a little bit more to 4.6 gigahertz, and then when I was testing it in Prime 95, I got some temperatures that maxed out up into the 80s and stuff, which I was happy with that. It was, you know, kind of hot, but it wasn't that ridiculous hot that up into the 90s and the hundreds and stuff. And just for giggles, even though our score isn't going to be quite as good at 4.6 as it was at 4.9, I figured I'd throw one last run of Cinebench in at 4.6 gigahertz just to quantify the performance increase that we got over the stock settings. And as you can see right here, our overclock took us up from a Cinebench score of 890 up to 929 for a total increase of 39 points, which figures out to be right about a 4% performance increase. Well, there we go, guys. Thanks for coming along with me on this little overclocking adventure. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, hit that thumbs up button, give it a like. And if you did not enjoy it, you know, there's that one. You can do that. It's up to you. If you guys have any questions for me or would like to make a comment, that's what that comment section down below is for. Go ahead and use it to your heart's content. And if you are not yet subscribed to my channel and you are watching this on your PC, click the subscribe button right over here, and you will get notified every time I upload something new. If you're watching this on a tablet or a smartphone or something, go to the section there where you can see the whole video and the video description, and There'll be the subscribe button there. You can click that there and get subscribed that way. I'll put a little picture up so you guys can see where that's at. And if you are one of those Twitter folks, you can follow me on Twitter. I am at Maraxote78. Anyway, I would like to say thank you guys so much for watching this video and hanging out with me today. I hope that you liked it, and we'll see you all next time.